What's up guys, Scorpop here. Today I'm going to be explaining how to fully solo farm Invincible's reigns from 25 Heroic Lich King all by yourself. You don't need any other players for this. So if for some reason you never got Invincible's reigns in Wrath of the Lich King and you still want it, this is the video for you. Now, if you want a quick TLDR on what you're actually supposed to do, here it is right here. You basically go in and clear the raid on 10-man normal. And once you're at the Lich King, you leave the instance, set it to 25 normal, walk inside, and then once you're inside, then you can set it to 25 heroic. You might need to wait 1 minute due to, if you swap difficulties too fast while in the instance, you get a 1 minute, buffer before you can swap it again. So just wait 1 minute, then you can swap it to 25 heroic, and you'll be able to kill the Lich King for your Invincible's chance. Now, actually clearing out 10-man normal is really not difficult at all. I actually have a whole video dedicated to explaining every fight in depth as a hunter. So I won't really explain each fight in depth, but I will give a quick TLDR on bosses that might give you a little bit of trouble, even on 10-man normal. Remember, on Lord Marrowgar, if you're not a Pandaren, Goblin, or Worgen, you will be affected by the Bone Spike Graveyard. Unless you take a melee hit from Lord Marrowgar himself. You'll be marked as a tank, and you won't be able to be affected by it. But on 10 normal, this is pretty straightforward. You can just burn him down, and even if you get hit by the Bone Spike, you can tell your pet to break you out, essentially, by having him kill the spike that's on you. Gunship is straightforward as well. While you're in the cannon, number 1 ability builds up your energy bar and deals little damage to the other boat. Number 2 is the ability you want to use when you're at over 90 energy in order to unleash a big attack on the other ship. When your ship gets frozen, use your rocket boots shirt that you got from the goblin at the start, jump over to the other ship, kill the mage on the other side, and then jump back, kill any adds that are on your ship, and just repeat that until the gunship is destroyed. Now, the next several bosses, even probably up to Valithria, really aren't any trouble whatsoever on 10-man normal. All of them are pretty much just burn down and kill for loot, basically. However, once we get to Valithria, I will be explaining a skip. The skip has 2 methods now. The first method I already explained in the previous video, so I will kind of just copy that and paste it in here, but there is a second, maybe a slightly easier method if you can't get that one to work. So here they are. Regardless of that, there is actually a skip you can do. Now, you've probably seen the skip that Demon Hunters can do in Retail WoW. However, this doesn't exactly work in Classic. It seems they put some kind of invisible walls in here so you can't skip this area. You can see here, if you try the exact same thing with a Goblin Glider, it doesn't work, even though I know for a fact this did work back in original MoP. At the moment, doesn't seem like it works the exact same, but it is still doable, although harder. Here's how you do it. First off, you're going to install an add-on called Grounded. I'll put a link in the description below. Second step, you're going to use this macro in the game. I'll put a link to all the macros ahead in the description as well. Next, you need to turn your camera, make sure it faces you as straight as possible, like I'm showing right now, and you're going to use this macro. Next, you're going to activate the move pad. You're going to go to your options and look for accessibility, general, and within there'll be an option to show the move pad. Activate it, and you'll have a move pad on your screen. Next, you're actually going to open Grounded with /grounded or this green icon that's in the upper right-hand corner of your spellbook. You're going to drag your disengage ability to the add-ons interface. And now you're going to press the keybind you want to use for this. This is temporary, so I'm just going to use one of my other keybinds here. And then within the ability, you'll have 2 boxes here. You're going to delete everything in the first box, and you're going to place this in there. In the second box, you're also going to delete everything, and you're going to place this in here. And what this just did here is made it so you can disengage forward. This is going to be very helpful for doing this skip here, so this is what I opted to do. Next, you're going to make sure you have Flex Weave Underlay as the engineering item on your cloak. Do not use Goblin Glider. Use Flex Weave Underlay for this. You can swap to Goblin Glider right after it's done. Next here, I'm going to actually show you the skip. I'm going to pause it so you can kind of see where I'm starting and where I'm ending here. And you want to use your keybind that you used for the disengage and grounded right at the same time that I did as well as you're jumping down, because the height does matter. You have to aim right at the kind of the top of that red window that's on the side of the wall here. If you manage to start at the right spot, aim for the right spot, press disengage at the right time, you will make this skip. And then you can cancel your parachute buff, and to avoid taking fall damage, you can also disengage at the end, since by the time you get over here, it would be back off cooldown. And this is going to be the second method for the Valithria skip. You can actually do this with no add-ons at all. However, it is a bit trickier to line yourself up properly. You can also do the first method with no add-ons as well, by the way, but it does make it easier if you do have that add-on with the keybind, just so you can more easily line yourself up properly. But have no fear, they are doable with no add-ons. You're going to make sure that you actually have Glyph of Disengage for this. You're going to need the further disengage distance, and there's no need to swap to Flex Weave Underlay. You're going to be using your Goblin Glider instead. Just make sure you're facing the exact same way I am in the video. You're going to jump down, use your disengage, and then right when you're outside, you're going to activate your Goblin Glider and simply glide over to Sindragosa. This seems very straightforward in theory, however, you need to be doing exactly as I do, and you need to press the button at the exact same time when I press it. If you're too early or too late, you simply won't get through the invisible wall. And then, once you actually get past Valithria, Sindragosa is very straightforward as well. Just keep in mind that in the final phase, she's going to be spamming Ice Tombs. If you get hit by one, hopefully you can burn her down before she does, but if you do, you can just send your pet to kill them. They really have no health on 10-man normal, and during the intermission in the earlier phase, you can just tell your pet to kill the Ice Tomb as well. There's no need for any other tricks here. And then, once you've killed Sindragosa and cleared out the raid on 10-man normal, if you want to face 25 Heroic Lich King, the process is very simple. You're going to leave the instance, and when you're outside, right-click your portrait and select 25-man normal. And then you go back inside. Once you're inside, you won't be able to swap to 25 Heroic immediately. If you try, you'll get a prompt that says you need to wait 1 minute before swapping difficulties. However, once the minute is up, you can then swap it to 25 Heroic. In the meantime, I do travel up to the Lich King, and just to verify that it is 25 Heroic, make sure he has 103 million health, because that's how much health he has on 25 Heroic. So if he's got that much health, you did it correctly, and he should be good to go. And now here is actually how to solo the Lich King on 25 Heroic. Before you even start, make sure you have every buff you can possibly have in order to pump out as much DPS as possible. Drums of Forgotten Kings, Rune Scroll of Fortitude 3, Food and Flask, make sure you've got it. I opt to use a Wolf for the crit buff here, spec'd in Tenacity, so he's able to survive the Lich King. Now I'm going to get this out of the way first of all. Phase 1 is actually the hardest part of the fight. If you can get past Phase 1 and you're able to beat the Enrage Timer, you can kill this boss. But the hard part is just getting past Phase 1. In Phase 1, he's going to have several different abilities which make this hard. He has Necrotic Plague, which he uses on you every single time. He has Infest, which if you get hit by and you're under 90% health, you will pretty much die 100% of the time. He also, every few seconds, places a Shadow Trap under your feet, which is unavoidable. All you gotta do is move out of this. However, he will use it on you every single time. Just move and try to place them in spots that are kind of strategic. You don't want them near the pillar because you're gonna actually use the pillar to line of sight the Infest. If you're out of line of sight when he finishes his cast on Infest, you'll avoid it and you won't be hit by it. This is how, when you're under 90% health, which most of the time you will be under 90% health because you're constantly getting hit with the Necrotic Plague, you will be able to live You really want to be focusing your DPS on the Lich King. You want to misdirect all the adds to your pet, but you don't want to focus on killing the adds. This is why the very first Necrotic Plague that goes out, you're actually going to drop it on the adds. You need to look at the debuff on yourself, and when it's about to run out, go into the ad stack, and it'll be dropped, and it'll jump to an ad. And then, after that, you gotta keep in mind, the rest of the fight, as long as these ads are up, you can't be anywhere near them, because there is still the possibility of the Necrotic Plague jumping to you, and if it has more than one stack, 100% of the time, you will die to it. Let the Necrotic Plague bounce between the ads, it'll kill them all, you just focus the Lich King. Hopefully with enough big DPS, you can get him into phase 2. Once you get him actually into this phase, you shouldn't have that much trouble for the rest of the fight. However, there's still a couple of small things I should explain. During the 2 intermissions, one at 70% and one at 40%, he doesn't really do a whole lot. You can kind of out-heal all the damage he does, but he's also going to summon these Raging Spirits. You do not actually need to kill these. As long as your pet can survive, which if you take the talents I recommend in the description, he won't die. Focus all your damage on the Lich King. I can't stress this enough, because you need to beat the Enrage timer, which is 15 minutes. During the transition, he will also summon Ice Spheres. Make sure you kill these. If they reach you, you'll be knocked back and pretty much insta-killed. Once the phase ends and you've cleaned up all the Ice Spheres, you should be faced with the Lich King and several Raging Spirits on your pet. He will summon Valithria in this phase. In order to avoid them, you're actually going to use Distracting Shot on one of the Raging Spirits. If you get hit by a melee attack from the Raging Spirit, you will be marked as a tank by the game for 1 minute, and you'll be unable to be grabbed by the Valithria. You can see in the video that I do indeed use Distracting Shot every minute. Get hit, and then you're good for 1 minute to just keep DPSing the Lich King. That's all you've got to do here. He does continue using Infest in this phase. However, Spirit Bond should naturally have kept you up this whole time during the transmission, and you should be at full health going in. So, there's really no need to worry about that for now. And one final thing about this phase, and the next one, please move out of the defile. When he casts it, just walk away. That's all you've got to do. At 40%, he'll go into the next transmission. This is the exact same thing as the first transmission, except instead of 3 Raging Spirits, now he's going to summon 4 Raging Spirits. Again, you need to be focusing all your damage on the Lich King in order to beat the Enrage timer. So, if your pet looks like it's taking too much damage, you can kill 1 Raging Spirit. However, you shouldn't be focusing any of them in an ideal world. You can also stop using Distracting Shot in this phase. The Valkyrie that are already up will disappear, and they stop spawning entirely in the next phase. And now in the final stage of the fight, he's going to do 2 more new things. Harvest Soul, he will put you in Frostmourne, and he will summon Vile Spirits. Now when he puts you in Frostmourne, the only thing you really need to watch out for is watching out for these black balls. They do a little bit of damage, but nothing in here is really going to kill you. The big deal about this phase is it really hampers your ability to just burn the boss down. You gotta watch the Enrage timer here because, again, getting put in this phase is basically just a 40-second loss of DPS. So whenever you're out of Frostmourne, make sure you're pumping as much damage as you possibly can into the Lich King. And the second thing he does is Vile Spirits. He'll summon them and they'll move around in the sky, but eventually they're gonna fixate you. They hit you and they'll do some damage and they might bring you low even, however, it's not really enough to kill you. I kind of just move away from them in order to delay the damage they do as much as you possibly can, but overall, Spirit Bond should keep you up, and since Infest is not cast in this phase, you don't even really need to be worried about being above 90% health. Other than that, he does continue to cast Defile in this phase, but you're always on the move anyways due to the Vile Spirits, and you should easily be able to avoid these, so just keep moving, keep DPSing the boss, really pump out as much damage as you possibly can. Since you also have all these Raging Spirits up, make sure you keep mend pet rolling as well on your pet, or else it is at risk of dying if you're a little sloppy or not too careful with that. But other than that, this phase is pretty straightforward. Once you reach 10% health, the Lich King will cast Fury of Frostmourne, you'll die, and in a few moments you'll be seeing if the Invincible drops. Hope you guys enjoyed watching, take care, and I'll see you for the next video. Peace.